Hello and welcome to Miniature Adventures. I'm Big Lee, and today I want to talk about Beau Hunks, a Rejects demo game. So last Saturday, Posties Rejects ran our 10th demo game at the Broadside War Game Show. Now this is sort of like our local show, although it's a lot more local now that it's in Gillingham instead of Sittingbourne. And each year one of the Rejects takes on the challenge, the dubious challenge of running a game, usually providing all of the miniatures and the terrain and the scenario and running the game, umpiring the game. And this year it was my turn. I didn't quite get a full year to prepare because the last Broadside was in December, but nonetheless I managed to get everything pulled together in about 5 months. So that was all the painting, the research, the making of the terrain, organising the game, getting a practice game in, and then of course running the actual day. So our game was last Saturday, and so I thought I'd tell you a little bit about it.
Hollywood has given us many heroic and dramatic stories about the French Foreign Legion battling impossible odds in the Sahara. From several adaptations of P.C. Wren's novel Beau to more comic depictions of the Legion such as Laurel and Hardy's Beau Hunks, we have a romantic image of the steadfast and stoic legionnaire. But as with all such stereotypes, the real story of the Legion and the French conquest of Algeria and Morocco is somewhat different. It was this difference that I wanted to explore with my game. Fascination with the French Foreign Legion started long before Percival Christopher Wren's novel Beau was published in 1924. French troops in faraway exotic cities like Algiers or Oran to the almost semi-mythical Timbuktu could hardly fail to excite the imagination. But Wren's story of high adventure, set in pre-1914 French Algeria, took the romantic image to a new level, and it wasn't long before the first screen adaptation of this book in 1926, starring Ronald McColeman. Part of the success of the book was due to the detail of military life that Wren wove into his story, prompting unproven claims that he himself served in the Legion. A second adaptation of the story, starring Gary Cooper, was released in 1939, and this cemented the romantic image of the Foreign Legion in popular culture. However, the real story of this period of French colonial history is much more interesting. Our game at Broadside was a fictional encounter involving the French Foreign Legion in Algeria at the start of the 20th century. This is the classic Beau period romanticised in P.C. Wren's novel and then by Hollywood. Although the battle is fictional, it represents the type of hit-and-run raiding that the Legion was forced to defend against for over a decade. There are actually 2 games being run on our table because, as well as paying homage to the history, we wanted Hollywood to get in a look in as well. So while the main battle used the men would-be kings rules to fight the main game, overlaying this we played a second, less serious game featuring Laurel and Hardy. For these I wrote a simple set of rules based around a card deck and themed on the comedy duo's 1931 film Beau Hunks. In the film, Hardy is jilted by his lover Jeannie Weenie, aka Gina Harlow, prompting him to announce to Stan that they are joining the Foreign Legion to forget. Unfortunately, when they arrive in Algeria, everyone from the commanding officer down is crying over a similar autograph picture of Jeannie Weenie. Our game sees Laurel and Hardy moving around the games table, visiting as many French officers as possible, each time drawing chance cards from a custom deck of cards. There are 3 types of cards in the deck: Jeannie Weenie cards, featuring a picture of the unfaithful heartbreaker, each dedicated to a different lover; slapstick cards, describing various ridiculous and troublesome in-game events caused by the bumbling heroes; and a handful of event cards. These are rare but significant events that affect all the units on the table. Laurel and Hardy will gain victory points for each Jeannie Weenie card found, and could potentially be declared the winners of the game, leaving the poor wargamers to contest 2nd and 3rd place. The story of the game is that the Berbers were about to launch a full-scale raid against the fort when a second company of French Foreign Legion, returning from a patrol, hoves into view. With the combined tribal forces under his command all fired up, the leader shifts their attack against the easier target, the column. The table really needed to be a little bit bigger than the space available, so I let the French players act first. The Berbers' first move would be to move onto the table edge. Meanwhile, the French could muster some troops from inside the fort to sally out, but it would take 1 turn to muster the men in the courtyard and a 2nd turn to march out. Move actions are not free for the French Foreign Legion, so they had to roll a leadership test to see if their unit would follow the orders, and Dave, in command of the field gun, rolled a double 1. Incredibly, on the next turn, he rolled another double 1. Now, would this delay prove vital? Only time would tell. The Berbers spent the game pushing forwards against a hail of fire from the legionaries, who took cover where they could, using some men as a skirmish shield, and taking advantage of any scrap of cover. The Berbers were able to weaken the exposed flank of the second company. Little by little, they weakened the demi-sections until the final charge by the Berber cavalry and camels broke a few key units. By the end of the game, the French had just 2 points. Laurel and Hardy had amassed 6 points, and the Berbers had 17 points. A decisive win for the Berbers, with most of the points coming in the very last turn of the game. After all the effort to put together a game, it was very satisfying to hear the positive feedback of those that visited us and took time to look at our demonstration. The Rejects are especially good at engaging with the public at these sort of events, and I don't think a single visitor walked past without a friendly chat with someone in the group. Reaction to our game within a game idea seemed to be very positive, with plenty of people taking pictures of Laurel and Hardy. Quite a few people tried their hand at the test your knowledge cards, and I'm glad to say the sweets we put out for the kids proved very popular with children and adults alike. The icing on the cake for us was that we won Best War Game for our efforts. It's a vindication of all the work that has gone into the making this game, and the good-natured and welcoming nature that epitomises Posties Rejects wargaming spirit. Well done to all the Rejects for making this such a positive, successful and thoroughly enjoyable experience.
I'll post more on the historical background to this game on my blog. Indeed, if you came to this video via my blog, just scroll down and read the full version of the leaflet that we handed out on the day. And this will go into a lot more detail, importantly listing essential books, for, if you want to read a bit more about the period, a general bibliography that lists where I got certain pieces of material, what websites I've gathered material from, and so on, and places that I thought were really useful. So I hope you'll find all of that really quite interesting. And of course, I'll try and post as many pictures as I can. I have posted as many pictures as I can in today's video, but I'll also put some extras up on my blog where I can. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please like, subscribe and share. And if you want to keep up to date with weekly content from this channel, please tap the bell notification icon. That's it for today. Until my regular weekly Sunday slot. Until then, stay safe, keep gaming, and of course, keep rolling high.